Welcome everyone to May 2025 session on spiritual questions answered. Hang on. Okay, and the topic for today is involuntary movements during meditation. Let me adjust. I thought I adjusted the camera. It looked okay earlier. Now it looked kind of different. Okay. So now, if you are here, you may have, you yourself, or maybe you know people who move involuntarily during meditation. So what do I mean by that? Now, if you do meditation and you mix around with other people who do meditation, or you join group meditations, if you do enough of it, sooner or later, you will see or meet people, or maybe it is you yourself, all right, who find, there are people or you yourself moving during meditation. And this movement is involuntary. That means it is not something that you or the person voluntarily do. All right, it's not something that you or the person voluntarily do. It is something that happens to you, or there's something that's making you move. All right, and now the screen is shows a different thing every time. Different people, different number of people come on board. Okay, let me just adjust the camera. Okay, so the movements are involuntary. That means the person does not want to do it, but seems to be made to do it. So we're gonna tackle this topic, and I'm going to share with you all what I know. If you have any questions, those of you who are online live right now, later you can type your questions on the Zoom chat, and I will take a look at them and address them after I'm done sharing. Okay. So now let me roughly share, okay, the involuntary movements. There are different types of involuntary movements. Okay. So as a general type, let's call it general type. Okay. General or quite common type of involuntary movement. Yeah. So the quite general or common involuntary movement that happens to people tend to fall into is quite common. Okay. So the first one will be rocking. So the rocking usually it's forwards and backwards, right? So you'll be rocking. Okay, forwards, backwards. Forward, backward. So what do I mean? For example, I shall assume the standard meditation is seated, all right? And most people who are serious about meditation, they will sit cross-legged, yeah? But it's okay even if you sit on a chair. So when you sit, as long as it's seated, this rocking, I'm referring to this, you're meditating and you're supposed to be seated straight, and then somehow you end up rocking forwards and backwards. Okay? Forward, forward, backwards, and it keeps on going like this. Okay? Now, the second common type would be circular rocking. Okay, circular rocking will be, so if I'm facing you, or you see a person meditating, and a person will start to go around in circles like this. All right, for circular forward and backward like this. I'm exaggerating, okay? But some people they can get, so normally it's a small gyration. Now you can see it's like a gyrating kind of thing. All right. But for some people, you can get a little bit more vigorous, a bigger circle. Okay. These two are very common. Okay. Now, uncommon. So uncommon will be violent shaking. Right? Some of you may have seen people and all kinds of shaking. Okay, it can be head, it can be whatever. Limbs movement. That means the limbs also start to move. Okay, these are considered uncommon. Of course, you can go into even super rare. You can have dancing, yoga, kung fu, yoga, stretching. Okay, these are this will describe roughly the range that I've seen over 15 years of teaching meditation. All right, joining classes and also teaching meditation. So these are the three types. So first of all, let me address what most people know about this type of movements. All right, and I would like to share with you all further what I know, which is I think maybe a little bit deeper and wider in terms of this type of involuntary movements. So in general, people will say that you see this, yeah. Right? Some people will say the energy is moving you. Um, some will say you're possessed, especially when it gets to this type, yeah, whereby dancing and it's involuntary limbs movement, violent shaking. People will say, right, you're possessed. Um, of course, there are many different types of meditation and meditation teachers. Some meditation will say that you're not supposed to move, right? In bracket during meditation. Right? How many of you have been practicing meditation, but you happen to be those who have involuntary movements and you were scolded by your meditation teacher? I've known some students, they have had that experience. So roughly, this is like accepting. This is like totally right. This two will be like not accepting that you're possessed and you're not supposed to move during meditation. All right, I think this would kind of generally cover it. So let me explain what I know and share with you all. Okay, so now first of all, let's tackle this one. General common movements. This rocking forward, backward, circular rocking is pretty common. Now this is due to energy moving you. All right, this one is typically caused by qi. All right, the energy known as qi, qi or chi, So the chi will orbit. Okay, basically in our human body, there are three different types of energies. You have life force, you have chi, and you have prana. Three types are actually different. Okay, so I can identify this type of movement is caused by the chi. Generally, is caused by chi. Okay, now and there is this thing called an orbit. So for those of you who are more interested to know, right, there's a term for the orbit, okay, that causes this, especially this forward, backward, this circular is caused by something known as the microcosmic orbit. Okay, so what happens is if you meditate long enough, or if your energy channels, are cleared, are unblocked, and normally through meditation, your chi channels, your energy channels can be unblocked. Okay, so the main channel, right, that can move a body will be this thing, and the chi will move microcosmic orbit. So there is these two famous channel. Those of you who know a little bit, yeah, Chinese, they call it the ren and tu. Okay, English, they call it conception and governing. Conception or governing vessels. All right. So basically, you have two channels running up and down your spine. Okay, and so it goes down here. One goes down here to the bottom of the spine, and then from the bottom of the spine goes up the back all the way to the crown, and it circulates like this. Okay, and so because the chi circulates like this, okay, down the front, up the back. So when the chi gets strong enough, all right, during meditation or when you're still enough, what happens is the chi can rock you. Okay, so when the chi goes down the front, you will rock forward. It goes up the back, it pulls up, and then you kind of rock forward. So you kind of circulate up and down, and you may end up rocking this way. Okay, so that will explain the first movement. Now the second movement is circular. So circular is actually a combination of this one, the first one, which is a microcosmic orbit, plus another flow in the body. So there's another flow in the body around the waist, which goes, all right, which travels, which orbits around the waist. Okay, orbits around the waist. So depending on the direction where it's orbiting around the waist, so there's one going forward and backward, and there's one circling at the waist. So you add them two together, you end up circling two. All right, circling, and because there's already a forward and backward, right? There's already a forward backward by the microcosmic orbit. Then you add a circular one, so it starts to make a circle, and then you're like forward, backward, and circular. Okay, so this is something that is very common, and there's nothing to be alarmed with. Particularly, this happens particularly if you are the type of person whose chi is very good, you are in good physical health, and you are meditating, you've been exercising, or if you do qigong. All right, if you do qigong, your chi will be stronger than normal people. And if you meditate, this is something that will happen, and it is an indication that your microcosmic orbit is flowing. Okay, so it's actually a good thing. It is an indication that your chi is strong enough to move inside your body. And if it's strong enough to move inside your body, initially, all right, it will cause your body to move. Okay, over time, when your body get used to it. So typically what happens is when it first starts moving, your energy channels are not used to it, and they are not stretched. All right, or their capacity is low. So when the capacity is low, there's a lot more like friction, so that when the energy flows, it can move your body, it pulls your body along. But over time, as you do your qigong, your meditation, all right, your energy channels will get used to the energy flow. So let's say the flow is like this. So if the channel is very small, but a lot of qi trying to flow through, it's like pushing again, so you end up moving your body. But over time, your channel maybe will thicken, all right, will thicken through enough more qigong practice, more meditation, so your energy channel have a higher capacity. So when it has higher capacity and same amount of energy flow, then it will no longer drag, all right, and especially when the channels are all unblocked. Normally, if it's constricted, all right, if the channels are constricted, okay, if the channels are constricted, then what is going to happen is there is more friction. Yeah, so you get what I mean. So let's say there's energy. So initially, all right, so the energy channel may be like this. Yeah, so you generate enough qi, and so the qi is flowing. All right, so the qi is flowing, quite big qi. Okay, so there may be some friction and it causes a movement. So, or there could be some like blockages, because it's very common. Normally, most people, they cannot have this thing happening because there's a lot of blockages. Some are so serious that it blocks it out. Okay, but the idea is after you do qigong and meditation, these blocks will clear itself and then the qi can flow. But there may be some tiny blockages, restrictions that they cause friction, so your body will move. Now, over time, ideally, your channel will increase in width. Okay, the blockages will be gone, and the same amount of energy flow can flow through. So then you flow smoothly, and then the rocking and the movement will disappear. This is the common type. Okay, this is the common type. Now, then you have this uncommon type. Okay, so one is a violent shaking, limb movements, dancing, yoga, stretching, kung fu. Okay, so maybe I should share my first encounter of this to everyone. So I had exposure to meditation when I first started out. All right, and one of the meditations whereby I saw all these movements was a chi meditation practice that I went to. All right, so it was a chi meditation practice that I went to, and they were teaching just meditation, and the purpose was to strengthen the chi and to try and get the microcosmic orbit to move. Okay, so microcosmic orbit is a very famous thing amongst the chi practitioners, qigong practitioners, the martial artists, and those of all those who are of Chinese background who read the novels of they call it wuxia. Wuxia, that means like Chinese kung fu movies, those kind of, where they talk a lot about this type of qi and martial arts using internal energies. All right, using energies. So it's very famous in Chinese. They call it, when the microcosmic orbit can happen, they will say that the ren tu mai. That means the ren and tu vessels or channels are unblocked. All right, when these two channels are unblocked, the conception and governing vessel are unblocked, then amazing things can start to happen. So it's a big deal. Okay, so I went for this qigong class many years back. Many years back, maybe 20 years back, and so the meditation was very simple. 12 nights, 2 hours in a row. All right, the stuff that were taught were very simple, but just teach us how to basically do it, and then sit down for 2 hours every night. Okay, for 12 nights, commit ourselves. And that's where I found out that people can actually move during meditation. And for this type, okay, because it's a chi based, there were a lot of more people moving. And so there were all kinds of movements. So the normal one is this. This also happened to me. Okay, this was what happened to me. So what was more uncommon was this type. So in the same class as me, there were like maybe 20 plus people. There were two who stand out, and in particular there was one guy. Okay, in particular there was one guy. This guy, so he was meditating, and after a while, he started to move, and his movement was apparently involuntary. Okay, so so I think this story will cover these two these two parts. So he was meditating, and after a while he started to move, and it was kind of distracting because it's kind of obvious. So he started to do some stretching. He was like literally doing yoga or stretching. So everybody was supposed to be seated, right? And people can sit cross-legged on the floor or can sit on the chair. And this guy started to get up, get up and do stretching. So he started to do stretching. He's doing all kinds of stretches, hands with his hands. So his limbs were moving. All right, his limbs were moving, his legs were moving, and he was doing stretching. All kinds of funny stretching, and like, as if he's a yoga person. Yeah, and of course, the teacher obviously was very experienced, and it's not the first time he's seen it, and he just went around with a small handphone was it handphone or camera? It was many years ago. Nowadays we think of handphone as camera, but I think he went around with a camera to record, and he explained to us that this can happen, is rare, but it can happen. All right, and so Lin's movement, he was doing like yoga and a little bit like kung fu even, right? He would start to stretch and kind of like exercise, and his exercise was not like ordinary. Yeah, he was like a little bit like kung fu, okay. And he started to exercise, and he started to do things like, maybe you see people, he's hitting himself. Those people, if you are familiar in Qigong, is one of the practices that people try to hit themselves to activate the meridians. All right, activate the meridians and acupressure. So and it's kind of distracting, right? Because we are all, the rest of us were just sitting down, trying to be quiet and trying to meditate. Yeah, but he was doing all this. Yeah, and now, so these movements went on for quite a while. So there were 12 nights. So I think maybe on the second or third night it started happening. Now, of course, but the teacher told us not to disturb him, and then he just continued to record. Now, so this stretching went on quite a while, and and even though we are all supposed to be meditating, we can't help but take a sneak peek at him to see what he can do. So he was stretching and stretching, and then I think maybe after about a week or more, what he could do. He's a guy, yeah, he's a normal guy. He stretched so much that he could do the in Chinese we call it 一字马. He could do the split. He was a normal guy who couldn't do the split, but he kept on stretching. Supposedly the teacher said the energy is moving you, is moving him. Yeah, the qi is moving him. So we're talking about qigong. So qi is moving him. So he did all the various stretching until he could do the split, real split. And I think he tore his pants doing it. The first time. He did the split, and it was like, wow. People are like so impressed. And then a few nights later, what he could do? He could take his legs, right? He could put his leg cross and put here. I'm using hands, obviously I can't do it, right? He put his legs here and one like this. He was like a yogi. Two legs are like that. He's not just full lotus. His legs were like that, And we're like, wow, people are like so impressed, yeah. And this is the most impressive guy. All this. So maybe not dancing, but I've seen dancing, yeah. But referring to this particular experience. Now there was also another lady. Okay, there was another lady. She was also moving, but not so colorful. Okay, not so colorful, but she stand up and she is some shaking, and then she'll turn and so on. So of course everybody are very curious about them, and I was very curious. Eventually, this is what I found out. Okay, this is what was what was eventually shared. So now, the lady was not so colorful, but that she has movement, and it was also noticed. Of course, the guy was like the center of attraction. Now the lady, apparently it seems that she broke her hip. All right, she fell down and she broke her hip, and she's been in pain ever since. And after she do this qigong meditation, all right, then the qi moved her, and it helped relieve her of her hip pain and hip injury. And so I even met her like, months down. We continued some practice, and I bumped into her at the temple. Saw her, and she said no, she's actually much better after learning this meditation, and the movements and the chi, the energy apparently was moving her to help her heal from her injury. All right, so that was for the lady. Now the man has even has a more interesting history. So just to give some context here, because I went for this class. It was 12 nights, but those who sign up for this class, we can come for a repeat. Okay, we come for a repeat. So the teacher, in case you don't know, I'm in Malaysia. All right, this happened when I was back in my hometown, Ipoh. So my hometown is not, it's not the capital city. Capital city of Malaysia is Kuala Lumpur. I'm at Kuala Lumpur right now. Okay, but back in those days, I was back in my hometown, and so the teacher had to travel around Malaysia to teach this meditation. Okay, so and every now and then he will come back to Ipoh, my hometown. All right, and then when he teaches a new class, without having to pay extra, we can join in the new class. All right, so I will join in the new class and will introduce friends to join in the new class. All right, so over time, this is the story that we that was developed. So this guy who had all these colorful, so interesting movements, eventually he shared with us, later in the further classes. So he has some viral infection of the liver. Okay, I shall assume it's one of the hepatitis viruses. He just says it's a liver virus, and according to him, he's considered, before the meditation, learning the meditation, he's considered like dead man walking, that he will die, because the infection of the virus is very high levels, and he was sharing that, every day he had to take one handful of pills. He had to take one handful of pills and medicine, all right, every day. Like he said, like, I don't know, like some number that is close to 20 or something, every day without fail. That is his medication. But but after learning this, all right, and his viral readings were off the charts, yeah, were off the charts. After learning this and after all these movements, after a few months, when he went back to the doctor said the virus disappeared. He no longer has the virus. He was cured. His liver viral infection was cured. And, it's, to the doctor, this is the first time he's seen something like that. This man was practically going to die, all right, because he's gotten this viral infection. But yeah, so to him, he attributed his miraculous healing due to this qigong that he learned. And he did share, especially when many people do it together, the energies will be stronger and the movements will be more. But yeah, so a lot of people who are into, especially this qigong type, right, they will say the energy is moving you and the energy is healing you, that is good for you. So that's what happened to this man. Okay, but it doesn't happen to everyone. Okay, this is not something that happens to everyone. So let me share with you all. Now, the moment these sort of things happen, there are a few things that you need to take note of. Okay, now this type of movements, okay, they can happen for different reasons. Okay, but the underlying reason why people can move to this extent, that is not this general common, this is like gentle rocking forward and backward or circular, but this can be like violent shaking, limbs movement, dancing. Okay, there is an underlying, a very important underlying reason for it, and it is this: the person is a all right. Is an energy sensitive of high order. All right, that means a person who is sensitive to energy not just a normal energy sensitive person, but of a high order, highly energy sensitive person. All right, it can only happen to someone who is like this. Okay, this is based on my experience of meeting so many people, of doing the work that I do with related to energy and spiritual healing and cleansing, yeah, and teaching meditation, of course. So I am very sure of this, but not many people may may know this. The underlying reason is this. Now, from this, you can have all these things happening, all right, movements, and whether it's during meditation, there can be a few things. Okay, there can be a few reasons. One, um, okay, um, so let me talk about this first. Sorry, there are types of movements, and there'll be the reasons of movement. Okay, the types of people who are energy sensitive of high order, all right. Generally, all these type of things happening, okay, there will be people who are, okay, from, let me start from the lower end to the higher end, yeah. So from first type, lower end, yeah. So it's body sensitive. To all right, there are three types of people who are sensitive of high order. These are my terminologies. Channel mediums is quite it's quite known. Okay, come up with a term. So there's slight differences. So basically, all this will mean that you are energy sensitive of high order, and if this is happening to you, it means that you belong to one of these categories. Okay, it means that you belong to one of these categories, and the medium is someone who can, you know, um, so a body sensitive is one whose body can be moved by energy or entities. A channel is someone who can communicate with spirits mostly. All right. The third one is someone is a medium. Okay, a medium is someone who can communicate with spirits, and their bodies can be moved by um, energy or entity. All right. So body sensitive, the body can be moved by energy or entity, but cannot communicate with spirits. Right? This one cannot communicate with spirits. This one can communicate with spirits. Okay, but the body is not so sensitive to movement. All right. Medium is 1 plus 2. So 1 plus 2 equals 3. Okay, so 1 plus 2 equals 3. So these are the three types of sensitive people. Now, so the channel will not experience most of this, but the channel may have some violent shaking. Okay, may have some violent shaking. Not so much of this. Okay, but it's still something to take note of. Now, the reasons for movement. Okay, the reasons for movement. Okay, will be this. So one is the first reason of the movement is because the energy is moving the person. All right, in particular, all right, normally it's the chi that is moving the person. Second, entity is moving the person. All right, the spirit. Okay, entity or spirit is moving the person. So these are the two general reasons. Okay, now energy moving the person. One is due to the first reason is due to good energy flow. The second reason is due to bad energy flow or blockage. All right. Now, if so, like this, okay. This rocking forward and backwards, it can be a combination of good energy flow and maybe a little bit of blockage. So I'm just trying to generalize. So as long as this is clear, if this is totally blocked, okay, if this is totally blocked, there is no movement. Yeah. So you achieve reasonably good movement, but there's some constriction, then you end up with this. Alright. So it's considered good energy flow. Now there will be some which is a bad energy flow or blockage. Typically it will be like this, violent shaking. Okay, some of you, if you have energy blockages and you have energy that's trying to flow, so the energy is trying to flow and you have a constriction, right? So energy is flowing and constriction. Now if you belong to this category, especially 1 and 3, yeah, body sensitive and medium, it means you're very sensitive to energies, then your body will feel the blockage in your body because the energy is trying to go to, you know, your body is sensitive to energy. You're feeling the energy, so energy is trying to push through. So your body is like, okay, something like that. Okay, those people who are more sensitive to energies. All right, so it can be due to bad energy flow and encountering the blockage. I'm trying to keep things simple, yeah. Now, of course, the second one is something that's of concern. Okay, so that's where people say, oh, you're possessed, because something like this. How can a person move and do stretching? And all this is like, I mean, some people will be saying like, are you sure energy is so intelligent? So some people will insist there's energy, but there can also be entity moving a person. All right, and of course, if you get a very serious problem, okay, whereby it's clearly that you have a malevolent or evil spirit and causing the person to do harmful stuff, then you know that it's a possession. Right? So maybe other areas you may be gray and you're not sure whether it's an energy or it's an entity, then you can still, okay, you can leave it, you can give the benefit of doubt that it's just energy. But for some people, it's clearly that, there's some spirit involved. It's a matter of whether it's a good spirit or bad spirit. Those of you who are in Asia, you may have seen a lot of religious processions whereby people go into trance, and those of us in Malaysia, in Asia, or in certain cultures or certain religious beliefs and of certain religious experience, okay, you will not discount the fact that there's this thing of an entity moving a person, all right, or providing certain abilities. These are actually certainly true. Okay, so now the main question that people are going to ask, so what should I do? All right, what should I do if this thing happened to me or to my friend? Okay, now first of all, if it is something that you think is like an evil spirit, then clearly most normal people, you are not in the position to help. All you can do is pray. All right, and if you pray, of course it will be good to take your items of prayers. Okay, if you have a rosary, you got your rosary. If you have prayer piece, you grab prayer piece. If you have a religious book, all right, you please get your religious book, the Al-Quran, all right, the Bible, whatever, and you try to pray vocally. Okay, you need not be loud, but you need to pray vocally instead of just in your heart. So this may come under spiritual emergencies, and if you're really interested, all right, I did another video on what to do, in spiritual emergencies, or how to chant mantras and do your prayers properly. There will be another separate video. Okay, I can't cover everything, but you can watch those videos. Okay, so if you really think there is an entity moving the person and it's negative, evil spirit or something like that, you may want to watch those videos. And basically, you need to pray. Okay, for normal people, right? Pray vocally. Okay, not in your heart. If you can, take a religious religious article or object, all right, and you pray. Okay, so that's one thing. If it's clearly malevolence. Now, A lot of times it's a lot of gray areas and the person is quite comfortable with the movement because these people who are energy sensitive, if you've been energy sensitive all your life, this is normal. What's the big deal? All right, what is the big deal? But if you go to a meditation center whereby most people are normal, that means these people who are energy sensitive or the high order, my estimate is they form like no more than 5% of the population. No more than 5%. But if you are an energy sensitive, chances are, all right, birds of a feather flock together. You have a lot of friends who are energy sensitive like you too. All right, but if you're a normal person, okay, if you're a normal person, you will seem as if nobody are energy sensitive. You don't know anybody who can see spirits, talk to spirits, or listen to spirits, or get moved by energy, or have spiritual encounters, right? Yeah, most normal people will fall under that category. So, those people who are really energy sensitive, so maybe like 5%. Now, if you belong to this category and if you attend a lot of meditation teachers or meditation classes whereby the teachers are used to normal people, they will not understand. All right, either they will say that if they have some knowledge of energy, they may say energy is moving you. Some others, they will say that you are possessed. All right, or they'll tell you that you're not supposed to move. All right, I have a student, she was told not supposed to move, and the teacher even go around using a ruler or a cane or something. Whoever moves get cane. But then some of these people, if they're energy sensitive, they will tend to move whether you belong to one of these three types. So it's some people may not have this knowledge. Okay, now so if you belong to this type, some of them they will get a sense that whether the movement is something that is good for them, or is it bad for them, or do they feel like there is a negative intent, right? There may be a spirit that's trying to harm them. They may be able to sense something, all right? So, and they will be able to be, so they will be a judge of whether there's this thing, or, actually the best, maybe you best is to leave it to an expert because you don't know whether the entity is a good one or a bad one, or you don't really know. All right, so people like me come in, okay, so a lot of the cases that we do is help people deal with all these evil spirits, black magic, that kind of thing. Yeah? So now, what can you do? So if you're moving like this, now, if it's something like this, you got to do and practice until the energy is moved, then you will stop moving. All right. Now, if your movement is due to energy, it can be due to good energy flow. If it's due to good energy flow, it's initially because you have not gone to very good energy flow. Okay, if you've gone to very good energy flow, then there will be no movement. Okay, it can be bad energy flow. So these two types, the one that will have more violent, like this violent shaking, normally is due to this bad energy flow. So if it's really due to energy moving the person, they need to do their energy practice, their meditation, all right, and they need to do it in the right manner such that negative energies can be released. All right, negative energies or blockages can be released. So now there are many reasons for this. So it could be due to an emotional blockage or some other energy blockages. All right, it needs to be identified. Yeah, but some people will know. For example, some people always get neck aches and neck pain, and it could be due to bad posture, for example. Now, if you belong to body sensitive or medium, then very likely you will, during meditation you'll be shaking. You'll be shaking because you have a blockage at the neck. Okay, and the energy is trying to flow, so it's trying to flow through the neck. Then you have this, some people, I've really seen all this. Yeah, so it's true. So if it's due to energy blockage, you can only continue or have energy healing done to release the blockage. Okay, otherwise let the meditation practice and or the qigong practice typically, all right, to get it done over there. Now, if it's due to entity moving a person, and if it's due to negative entity, you may need to seek professional help. All right, you can contact someone that you know. Now, there are many people, okay, who have meditated quite some time, All right, and so they tend to transition between here, or they're always having this, okay, and they cannot stop themselves. And because they have come to understand, especially those of you who are my clients or students, all right, I would have told you about this by now, yeah, and you understand that okay, it's actually normal for you, for people who are like this, it's actually normal. And if once you have known that it is normal, okay, then you accept it. But the problem is if you continue to let this go on for years and years, because if you never really get rid of this, or you keep on allowing the energy to move you, you may not be able to take your meditation to the highest levels. Okay, so you need to do until to the highest levels. You need to allow the blockage to go, and you need to try and practice more. Okay, you need to practice more this. Okay. If you're a student of mine, and maybe just a few years, I will not demand this of you, all right? But if after many years, then I will start asking you, all right? If you're still moving, you may want to work on your stillness, okay? You need to reach a level of stillness such that even though your body sensitive and the energy is moving you, you can be so still that you don't move, okay? It can be done, all right? It can be done. Now, let's see. Let me take a look at the questions first. 2 questions so far. Coral said, years ago when I had acupuncture done on me, my body started to dance while lying down. I was in and out of sleep, had needles near my tailbone, and I felt happy and my body just started dancing. Okay. All right, that was very interesting. So if 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 that happened to you, clearly you are one of these types of energy sensitives. Yeah, high order. Evan said, any prayer of any religion is okay? No. Now, in general, most of the religions are okay. Now, for us, we can tell whether a religion, to, to qualify, to actually go slightly deeper into your question, Edwin, it must be a religion of light. All right, it must be a religion of light. And for those of us who are, who I teach, and for myself, all right, now, in general, let me tell you, in general, the main religions that are being practiced today, all right, the core main religions, they are all religions of light. So let me name them. Okay, you have Christianity, you have Hinduism, you have Buddhism, you have Taoism, you have Islam, you have Judaism. All right, these main religions are all religions of light, and their prayers normally are of light, and they will have the desired effects. But within these religions of light, there are sects and cults, and these sects and cults may have their own mantras and prayers that are not of light. All right, or they have branched off, they have deviated from the path of light, then the prayers will not have the same effects. Okay, so you have to be careful. So, for example, if you are Christian, you will say the Lord's Prayer. So the Lord's Prayer is of light and it's very good. All right, if you are Buddhist, Mahayana Buddhist, Nama Amitoho is very good. Okay, and like Om Mani Padme Hum, for Shakyamuni Buddha, Om Muni Muni, Mahamuni, Shakyamuni, Yesoha. All right, this is Buddhism. And Hinduism, there are a couple of mantras. Okay, now Hinduism is a little bit sensitive because they have many deities also. So even Buddhism, there are like many deities. So some deities, they are not of light. They've squeezed in, or people think they're of light. So but in general, the main ones are all okay. Kuan Yin, like Buddhism, Kuan Yin, Amitofo, the Shakyamuni Buddha, right? The Buddha as we know, they're all okay. Islam is good, right? Bismillah, the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is good. All right. Edwin, the religion you mentioned there is no good. Okay. You've asked that before. We've tested the mantra before, yeah. And other people who are present have feedback to you that the energies are not so good. Okay. So you have to if you train, okay, you can actually tell. And for those of us who train, we can tell what is of light, what is not of light. James is asking, why do body sensitive people have strong or adverse reactions to acupuncture? All right, that's a very good reason. So now people who are body sensitive, all right, or mediums, as long as the body can be moved by energy, your energy channels, your energy structure within the body is not the same as what the acupuncturist study. So you know the acupuncturist study, they have a map of the meridians and the acupuncture points. Now for people who are energy sensitive and mediums, all right, your meridians and acupuncture points differ maybe about 5%. So sometimes, so most of the time it works, and sometimes it doesn't work, or it doesn't work as intended, or it may be too positive or too negative. Okay, I've got quite a number of clients and students who belong to this category, whereby they have had, adverse reactions to acupuncture, or very strong reactions. So it's because their body is different, all right? Their energy anatomy is different. Okay, so if you belong to these categories, now I will also please, if you belong to these categories, please watch a video in our YouTube channel. Yeah, our YouTube channel, youtube.com, right? At CordyKet, yeah, /@CordyKet. There's one video that talk about what if you are an empath, if you're an empath or energy sensitive channel or medium, please watch that. Okay. If you belong to this category, you have other signs. Okay, and the signs and what to do and all that is actually indicated in that video recording. Okay. Evan says thank you, Kat. Yeah. And now Nixon is asking, there's this Taoist school, Tai Shang Men Xiao Yao Pai, where in practice Tao Yin Shu, where person own guidance will move the body as necessary to heal, and once healed, the movements will stop. What's your opinion? So yes, so there are this belief now. So there are many, there are Qigongs and like you say, this Taoist school that believe. And usually, now, if it can move, the person still belong to this category. I am very sure of this, yeah? Because even if they go to that school and they practice what they practice, and if the person does not belong to this energy sensitive or high order category, there won't be any movement. Okay, or there will be there won't be much. You can have some, but not much. All right, it can only happen to this type of people. Now, the main problem is this: there are many people who practice spiritual and energy stuff, but they are not aware, or they are not taught, or maybe the knowledge has been lost, how to tell whether that spirit is really a good spirit or bad spirit. This is something that I see happening all around. Okay, but for us, when we train our students, we have an infinity program. We teach people infinity healing. It means to do the healing and the kind of energy work that we do. And I train my students. Students come and learn from me. We are quite strict. You must be able to tell whether the spirit that comes is good or not. And most of the practices, even though they have some practices that helps them to try and determine, to me, it is really not good enough based on what I have learned of them. All right, so and so we get to hear a lot, a number of my students who have gone to various schools to learn all this, and they get into trouble, spiritual trouble, and eventually they come to us for help, and we help sort them out. So okay, I say this with no disrespect. Okay, I say this with no disrespect. Maybe the knowledge has been lost. Okay, but what I would like to say is this, and because there are many different teachers, many different lineages, so some they have the knowledge, some they don't. Now, it is very important that before you allow any guardian spirit or spirit to enter your body and move you, you need to be able to tell, is the energy or the spirit, is it a positive one or a negative one? Okay, you really need to tell. All right, and the problem is this: the spirits can pretend to be good. If they're pretending to be good, how can you tell? And for most people, some people, they just ask the spirit, right? Are you so and so? I mean, if it's an evil spirit, the evil spirit can lie, right? So there are all kinds of things going on, and if you're learning this type of stuff, I hope that your school, your lineage, or whatever it is, have a clear system. For us, we have a very clear system, and we learn to familiarize, you know, with energies that are of light, so that we know what is not of light. Okay, so we even have a light meditation practice, and in our modality, or in my school, in the school that I teach, right, we are very serious about this. Okay, all right. So this covers more or less what I want to share. Okay, you may have to refer to some other videos because 1 hour is not long enough. So is there any more questions before we call an end to the session? All right, if there are no more questions, I thank everyone for attending. Okay, and if you feel that you've benefited, please do consider making a donation. How to make a donation will be in the groups. If you can't afford it, it's also okay. Okay, so I hope to see you again next time. Have a good day, good night, and goodbye.